Question. How much do you know about the 7 deadly sins? It might have been something that you heard of sometime in your life, or that maybe your parents or your grandparents kind of referred you to in the scriptures. It might be something that you heard of, but if you don't know what they are, the 7 deadly sins: pride, lust, sloth, greed, wrath, envy, gluttony. Those are the 7 deadly sins. Now, the reason I'm talking about them is because we struggle with these things as men, and understand that everything exists on a balance, including us. So if we all deal with pride, sloth, lust, wrath, greed, gluttony, and envy, then that would mean we naturally have these things. So if we naturally have them, that means they were given to us. So why would God give them to us and then say that they're deadly sins? Well, I can explain. Well, I'm going to try to explain it to you. God gave us these things in order to keep us balanced. Pride. Pride is for justice. It's for standing up for justice. Pride is what a man needs to be able to build and to provide for his family and to get out and to do what he has to do. Pride. Wrath. What is wrath about? Wrath is just anger, going off, outbursts. Well, what is wrath about? Why would God give it to us and then call us to sin? Well, he gave it to us for us to stand up for what's right, was to stand up for justice, and to stand up against oppression and tyranny. All right? Wrath. Lust. Why did he give you lust? He gave you lust for your wife. It is for you to love your woman. It is for you to be fully intoxicated with your woman. It is to not cheat. It's for all of that stuff. It's for you to consummate your marriage or to consummate your relationship. That's why he gave you lust. What is gluttony about? Well, gluttony is about pleasure. It only becomes out of balance. I mean, these things only become deadly sins when they're out of balance. All right? Gluttony out of balance. And gluttony doesn't just have to do with food. A lot of people think that, but gluttony just means the overconsumption of. Too much of this, too much. You can be gluttonous when it comes to sex. You can be gluttonous when it comes to money. You can be gluttonous when it comes to power. You can be gluttonous when it comes to women. You can be gluttonous with anything that brings you pleasure. To overdo it or to do too much, gluttony. What is envy about? Why would God give us envy? Well, God wanted you to be able to look at the example of other people and know that you could do it too. But out of balance, what does envy become? Maybe now you're a hater. Now you're a hater. Now you're mad at somebody and you wish that you had what they had when you are not in a position to have what they have. You don't even have the mentality to have what they have. All of these women who said that they want a husband, if you wanted a husband, if you were worthy of having a husband, you'd have one. You don't have a husband because you're not worthy of one. A man doesn't have a wife because he's not worthy of one. You don't get a wife or a husband because you're male or female. You get it because you're worthy of it. Because when God brings people to you, don't you understand that you have to be a blessing to that person? God doesn't curse people with you. Some of you are nothing but a curse on the life of any man that walks into your life, or a curse on any woman who happens to walk into your life. It's all you are. Why did God give us sloth? Well, God gave us sloth for rest so that we don't become workaholics or overdo it or actually abandon our home responsibilities. I mean, even on the 7th day, God rested, right? It becomes out of balance when it becomes laziness. When you're not being productive with your time, when you're not working towards anything. That's when sloth becomes laziness. So understand that all of these things are given to us by God for specific reasons. It's that when they become out of balance, they become the 7 deadly sins. Now, most people are dealing with 2 to 3 of these things. I've never seen a person deal with more than 3, and I've never seen a person deal with less than 2. I myself deal with 3. Mines are sloth, wrath, and pride. It doesn't make my sins any better. It doesn't make my 7 deadly sins any worse or any better than anybody else. Some people are dealing with lust and pride. But anybody who's dealing with one of the 7 deadly sins, well, I want you to know that you don't have to work so hard on it. Check your pride. Pride is the window through which all of the rest of the sins creep. None of the other deadly sins can exist without pride. Pride is the window through which all the rest creep. All right? So let's say when you mix pride and lust, now you can't be faithful. Nobody's good enough for you. You don't mind betraying nobody or whatnot because you're so proud you think that you deserve the best kind of sex or whatever kind of perverted kind of crap you on. Or let's say that you mix pride with wrath. Well, that's instant. Now you're a murderer. Now you can murder somebody, kill people, hurt people, domestic violence, yada, yada, yada. Pride and wrath. Let's say pride and sloth is laziness. I don't know, women out there know what I'm talking about. To have a dude who doesn't do anything and is not contributory to the relationship, and then when you tell him to do something or tell him that you want somebody who's going to do more, now watch him get pissed off. Now watch him flash as if you're not supposed to want more. You know what I mean? Pride and gluttony. When you overconsume something, you know you're overconsuming it. All right, just like even if we were talking about something as simple as food, you know when you're overeating, your body is starting to go against you. You're becoming fat, you're becoming nasty, and you know your arteries are getting clogged. What you're doing is starting to destroy your body, and when you start to see your body getting destroyed, or see you getting fat and disgusting, you don't care. Whatever, I'm beautiful anyway. Pride and gluttony. You mix pride and envy. We're no longer looking at people for examples. Now we're haters. Now we're gossipers. Now we're talking about them for having this and that and this and that, and you wish that you had their man or their woman or whatever the case may be. When you can't handle that woman. You can't handle that. All you are is looking on the outside and not understanding the pain and the responsibility that comes with the position that they're in. You can't have that woman. You can't handle that woman. Chick, you can't have that man. You can't handle that man. I ain't never met a woman who could deal with me. I'm too much. I'm too heavy for you. For a woman to deal with me, do you know what she would have to put up with? She would have to have knowledge of everything and be understanding and be content to follow my lead. You can't handle that. You know what kind of man you're looking for. You understand that the 7 deadly sins don't get deadly until they're completely mixed with pride and they are now out of control. But other than that, the so-called 7 deadly sins God gave us to maneuver and function in this world with other people, to stand up for justice, to always be productive, to be fruitful, to be in love with your wife or your husband. He gave us all of these things, but it's when we mix them with pride and they become out of control is when they become the 7 deadly sins. Now, most people are dealing with 2 or 3, but everyone who's dealing with their 2 or 3, including myself, you solve it by solving your pride. Pride is the window through which all the rest creep. So if you're having a problem with lust, I can tell you don't be sleeping with nobody, don't cheat on nobody. Okay, that's kind of hard to do, especially if you inherited that nasty gene from your mother or your father. So I'll say this. Let somebody be good enough for you. Check your pride. Let your wife or your woman or your man or your husband be good enough for you. Stop wanting sex that you saw on Pornhub. Stop it. It's not real. Pornography is not real. I know that you don't know what I mean. I'll tell you what I mean. It has been ran. It's been like 8 scenes cut into one scene. It has been cut over and over and over again. You want your man to sleep with you like the prostitutes. That's what porn stars are. These are prostitutes. I'm not saying that they're not pretty or that they're not attractive or yada yada yada, but I don't want one of those. I don't want a porn star in my friggin' house, dude. Don't get me wrong. I can look at her like, damn, she's thick. Oh my God, she's crazy. Oh, she's so nasty. Yeah, that's sexy. Okay, but I don't want it in my house. But the difference is that women can't distinguish reality from fantasy. They can't distinguish the two. You want a porn star in your house. You want to be married to a porn star. You want porn star type of sex. Where did all of this stuff come from? Well, it's pride. Your man's sex ain't good enough. My man has lasted 2 minutes. Then you need to learn how to bust in 2 minutes then, don't you? Stop thinking that you deserve more than what you have. I have not met a man that does not have some kind of inadequacy somewhere in his life. Some may be inadequate to you sexually. Some may be inadequate to you financially. Some may be inadequate to you mentally, but for wherever he's inadequate, he is more than adequate in other areas. Are we still looking for the perfect man, perfect woman that's adequate in all areas? This is stupid. Why don't you find somebody that's adequate in the areas where you're inadequate in? About a woman's sex, I don't care about a woman's sex. Whatever she got, I'm going to finish. I don't care. I care more than who you are when we're laying down. I care about who you are once we stand up. We only going to lay down for 25 minutes, 30 minutes or whatever, 15, 10 or whatever. We only going to lay down for that long. We are vertical much longer than we're horizontal. I am more concerned with who you are once we stand up. I'm more concerned with who you are when I leave the house. I'm more concerned with that than I'm concerned with who you are in the bedroom. All right, so remember, when it comes to the 7 deadly sins, they are only deadly sins once they are mixed with pride and become out of control. It is our responsibility to check these things on our own. You got it? All right, one on it.